With us now is Coach Kerr. Coach, nice to have you back on the program. Before we start about anything, I always like to just say nowadays, how you doing? How you feeling? Are you staying optimistic?
Yeah, it's that used to be sort of just a passing question. How you doing? Now there's real meaning behind it every single day when we ask each other that question. So, yeah, I'm doing fine. I've been lucky to have good health, and my family is healthy, and we're doing okay and hanging in there. But yeah, this has been a strange time in the world, and I know a lot of people are out there are struggling. So we're thinking about everybody these days for sure.
You've always been really reflective and very honest with us. Obviously, this is personal for everyone that's going through what we're going through, whether it's the pandemic or the social unrest with everything. How do you deal with it, not only just as a coach, but as a person? And then how do you relay that to your players?
Yeah, well, it's been tricky because we haven't really been able to be together as a team. This coming 2 weeks, we're going to have our first opportunity to have all the guys together practicing, being together. We've been able to do individual workouts, but nothing team-wide, which means, it's tough to communicate that way. So really these last 6 months for me have been more about being with my family, which has been really the positive thing about this. And then just discussing what's happening in the world on so many levels with them and with close friends. But I've been anxious to do the same thing with our team. And it's very difficult to do when we never see each other. So this will be a nice couple of weeks here coming up, being able not only to practice, but to really communicate and hang out and be together.
What's the message, your first team meeting this week? What do you want to try to communicate?
I think the first message is let's enjoy ourselves, because, these last 6-7 months have been rough in so many ways, from a worldwide health standpoint, from what it has meant to everybody's individual lives, to the social justice activity in the country and the political division that exists. This has been, I think, the most difficult period in my lifetime as far as our country is concerned, and how I feel about things that are happening. And I would guess our players feel the same way. And I know that we all feel like basketball is our sanctuary and a chance for us to enjoy ourselves. So that's the big message: is let's take advantage of this opportunity. Let's have some fun. Let's play 5-on-5 basketball and compete and keep score and really enjoy ourselves and try to get away from everything for a little bit.
There's going to be some difficult conversations in the days and weeks ahead for you and your team. What if there's pushback or some angst about, there's so many white coaches in the NBA for a league that's dominated by blacks? What's your response, and how do we get around this? And I say we because it's a community thing, I believe.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's acknowledgement that it is an issue. I think if I'm not mistaken, we only had 6 or 7 black coaches out of 30 this year. And a few years ago, that number was 14 or 15. So I think, for the most part over the years, the NBA has been very progressive and has done, a pretty good job with social issues. But we have to acknowledge that we're behind in terms of equal opportunity for black coaches. And there are many reasons for that, most of which are sort of built in to the world and the country that we live in. And the equal opportunity that is not there, we have to examine why that's the case. Why the opportunity is there for people like me and other white coaches, and might not be there for minority coaches. So let's acknowledge it. Let's examine it. Let's try to do something about it.
Certainly don't want you to leave the coaching ranks, but would you consider at some point a deeper, bigger role in the NBA? I don't want to say commissioner, but something that's just kind of more oversight?
I appreciate the thought, Raj, but and that's very flattering. But I love what I do. Coaching is something I enjoy every day. I love being with the players on the court. I love competing. I love keeping score. and going through the season together, with the camaraderie of the coaching staff, the players, and the organization. It's really the true joy in my life, career-wise, and something I want to do for a long time.
So let me get this straight right now. You are quarantining in a hotel in San Francisco, getting ready for this mini training camp. No one around you?
Nobody around us. We just checked in this morning. The entire team and coaching staff has tested for a week straight over at Chase every morning. Everybody's tested negative. Now we checked into the hotel this morning. We'll be quarantined in our own rooms for 48 hours, retested both days. And then Wednesday morning, we'll finally be able to emerge from the darkness. And then we'll be kind of in our own bubble between the hotel and Chase, back and forth, and no contact with family members or friends, so the league and the city have really put these guidelines together with everybody's health and safety in mind. And so we're going to follow them closely and do everything we can to keep everybody safe.
Okay, honest answer here. Who's the guy you're most excited to see? Who's going to bring the biggest smile to your face of your players?
Well, Klay Thompson usually does that just with his mere presence.
Does he bring the dog with him? Is he quarantined? Is the dog allowed to come?
Unfortunately, no dogs allowed either. So Rocco has to stay at home. So we'll see if Klay can handle the separation anxiety over the next week or so.
I saw Draymond Green the last couple of weeks on TV. He's pretty sharp. Are you surprised of how he is as an analyst and a commentator?
Not at all. I think Draymond has a future on one of the networks as an analyst in the studio. If he wants to do game analysis, he can do that. He's just got a way with not only his knowledge for the game, but his communication and his humor and his pointed opinions. And we've all known that, in our locker room for years, because he presents those same opinions every single day to us. So in a good way. So we know Draymond's got a future, but we want to get some more good years out of him too. So we don't want him entering that field too soon.
Hey, Steve, is it a little frustrating for you because you've been championing social justice causes, not for months, but for years? Now not everyone, but now so many people are kind of jumping on board. Is that frustrating to you or encouraging for you?
No, it's encouraging. I think there's great momentum right now that's in the country. People are feeling it. I think there's a lot of frustration, obviously, but there's momentum, real momentum for change. And I think I'm cautiously optimistic. Knowing our country's history, we've had a few moments like this in the past, but we haven't been able to break through. And I think the breakthrough has to come through the ballot box. People have to get out and vote for the change they want to see. And I think what's happening right now is the country is changing, demographics are changing, generational change is happening, and there's a real desire for change from a lot of the people that are now representing the majority of the country. But it's difficult to make policy shifts and governmental change in the midst of all this. So people have to register to vote to really see what the change that they're hoping for come to fruition.
If your candidate doesn't win November 3, how do you stay optimistic? Will you stay optimistic?
Well, you have to stay optimistic. You have no choice. You keep going. You have to believe in your country, and I think that's probably what's been most disheartening. These days is just the lack of honesty and truth in the highest levels of government. We're seeing it right now with the quick vote on Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement, which is beyond hypocrisy when you look at what happened in 2016 and just the constant misinformation that's out there and the spreading of false information. it's extremely frustrating. It's kind of a combination of modern technology and sort of a lack of awareness and human fallibility. We're all vulnerable to all of this stuff. So we've got to find our way through the mess. And again, I think we've got to make our voices heard, but we've got to maintain hope regardless.
Coach, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Raj.